What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Path of Exile 2 video. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys step by step how you can craft your own Physical Damage Talisman, because if you're like me and you're playing the Druid dispatch, you understand that you need a talisman first of all, and obviously that a talisman is a really large portion of your character's power. I also do stream on Twitch, you guys, so if you ever have any questions, feel free to stop by twitch.tv/ghost_activity. But without further ado, let's get into it. So for starters, what you're going to need is your magic talisman base. And so you're going to come on over to the instant trade, the in-game trade site, right? We're going to filter by talisman. We're going to filter item rarity by magic. And personally for myself, I like to filter from the level requirements by at least minimum level 79, and that ends up getting us the Magi Talisman, the Wildwood Talisman, Thunder Talisman, and I would recommend to avoid the Jade Talisman just because it does have a lower percent crit chance and attack speed in comparison to the others here, right? But feel free, by all means, like Spiny Talisman would be perfectly fine. That's got a higher crit chance at 11. It still has the 1.2, right? And so Ash Bark is fine, but I'd say anything under maybe Spiny Talisman, I'd say maybe avoid. Maybe I mean, again, depending on your budget, right? Maybe you don't mind spending a little less to achieve this. But anyways, that's your first step, right? And you can filter, right? 155 percent physical damage is merciless, right? And so you can bump this up to 160. It goes up to 169 is merciless, and then to hit T1 tyrannical, you're going to be 170 to 179. So as you can see, this gets a little bit more expensive. I crafted my weapon a couple days ago, and I spent a little bit more, and my base at the time was 5 divines. But there you go. That's step one. Get your magic base and ensure it has one suffix, one random suffix. In this case, it's got stun buildup, okay? And so you're also going to need a greater essence of abrasion, one omen of sinestral necromancy with one preserved jawbone, one greater omen of exaltation, and either you could use a greater exalt or a normal exalt, doesn't really matter here. The idea here with this step is we're going to fill the suffixes here, and so it just saves you on an exalt. And then we're going to use a perfect essence of haste and a perfect essence of battle. So, step one, now that you've got your magic base here, we're going to use the greater essence of abrasion, and it's going to add on flat physical damage. And now it makes the item rare, so now we've got two prefixes. We've got our physical percent, and we've got our flat physical, and we've got our open suffix. Now here, we're going to add another prefix. So we're going to use the Omen of Sinestral Necromancy, and make sure it's in your inventory. Whenever you're using omens in Path of Exile 2, make sure to right-click it and it's in your inventory, otherwise it won't work. That's why it says on the bottom there, right-click this item in your inventory to set it to be active, okay? Don't miss out on that. That could be a disaster potentially if you don't do that. And then we're going to use our preserved jawbone. Right-click it, and we're going to desecrate a prefix here. Now here, at this point in time, we're going to head over to the Well of Souls, but before we head over there, I want to inform you that you do have another option. If you want to spend a little bit more money, you can go ahead and purchase a Omen of Abyssal Echoes for 93 exalts. These have gone up significantly over the last couple days. But what this is going to allow you to do is re-roll your options here, as you see, a second time, right? So, and we're hoping to hit, just like my weapon here, a high percent hybrid physical damage here. So here we go. I'm going to opt to not use the Omen of Abyssal Echoes for this crafting video, but you can certainly do that. And so here we go. And we did not hit the percent physical damage. So the next best choice here, I mean, powered attacks isn't so bad. But I think we just take the elemental damage with attacks and call it a day. It is what it is, so we're going to get our weapon back here in a moment. And now all of our prefixes are going to be filled. As you can see here, we've got 3 prefixes, and now we have one suffix and two open suffix slots here. So let's go back to our hideout. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fill the remaining affix slots, which are two suffixes, and how we do that is with the omen of greater exaltation. And so right click the omen again, just like I had mentioned, and we're going to use the greater exalted orb. And now now our item is full. We've got our physical damage percent. We got our flat physical. We hit the elemental damage with attacks. And then for our suffixes, we've got greater stun buildup. We've got mana per enemy killed. And we've got some additional accuracy and light radius. At this point now, and this is why it's important to do this and follow these exact steps. And before I forget, I do want to mention I've also done a write-up for this guide on the Google spreadsheet, so I'll make sure to leave that in the description below for you guys to follow that as well, if that may be helpful as well. But yeah, the final steps are we're going to Perfect Essence of Haste, and this is going to apply chance to gain onslaught with killing hits with this weapon. This modifier is a suffix, and so it has to remove a suffix. That's why we're adding all those extra suffix modifiers, so that it doesn't have the opportunity to remove one of our valuable prefix damage modifiers, right? So if we go ahead and go here, it's going to guarantee to remove a suffix because it's got to open up that. So as you can see, now we've got, our prefixes have remained the same. We're not endangering the item to, you know what I mean? So, and then our last step is to use a pure perfect essence of the battle. And the only something I want to point out here is now, because once again, this is a suffix modifier, and just so happens that our onslaught is also a suffix modifier. So there is a small chance that when adding this final essence here, it could remove our onslaught, but it's really not the biggest of deals if that does occur. But I just wanted to point that out to you just in case you're like, oh, whoa, what the heck, what happened? There is a percentage chance that does occur, so don't be alarmed if that does happen. But the last step is just to, and so now, yeah, as you can see, we did lose our onslaught mod, but we have all of our physical damage mods, and we have our +5 to level to all attack skills with our weapon elemental damage. Now, unfortunately, yeah, we want that hybrid Phys. So what you can do at this point, it's going to cost you a little bit more, but maybe it might not be worth in the long run. Maybe you just want to end up trying another weapon, but obviously you have the option to use the Omen of Light. And what that says here is, while this item is in your inventory, your next Orb of Annulment will remove only desecrated modifiers. So you'll activate this omen in your inventory, you'll Orb of Annulment, and it will remove, in this case, the elemental damage with attacks. And at that point, you can go again and try to re-roll your desecrated mod to hit that hybrid Phys. And again, this is why maybe it might be worthwhile to use here the Omen of Abyssal Echoes, so you can ensure you have an increased chance to hit that percent hybrid physical damage. So now we've got all of our modifiers filled. All that's left to do now is come over here and apply our blacksmith whetstones and apply our artificer's orbs for 2 sockets. And as you can see, and then all that's left to do is go ahead and add our runes. So your options here now are, just like I've put in my weapon here, I opted for Feral's Rune of the Hunt for 50% increased attack damage against rare or unique enemies, which is really, really nice. And then just the Greater Iron Rune. Now you could just go 2 Greater Iron Runes, but yeah, unfortunately with a lot of these runes now, that they're only limited to 1. So Feral's Rune of the Hunt here, and we've got, yeah, so it's up to you. You guys, you have a couple options. You can browse. You can certainly browse your the runes down here, right? But that's what I would recommend. I think that's your best bet. And so I think that just about covers it. Obviously, like I said, I did do a write up of everything, of all the steps to follow here. So I'll make sure to leave that in the description. And I did put a rough estimate to the cost of this craft at the time of recording. It's roughly 455 exalts. Which isn't too bad. And like I said, this is a pretty deterministic craft. It all really just does come down to having the currency, and you can achieve this, and you can craft yourself a really strong weapon and increase your character's power. But yeah, I think that just about covers it. If you guys enjoyed this video, consider leaving it a like. It would really help out the channel. But otherwise, consider subscribing for more Path of Exile content. See you guys on the next one.